Okay. Can you hear me? What we do is that first we will do 5 minutes breathing meditation. Okay. How many of you are not exposed to meditation? Exposed? Yes, yes. Okay. So I'm going to give a very quick the instruction on the meditation. Meditation means habituating in a virtuous object. And habituating the virtuous object, there are two kinds. In other words, meditation, there are two kinds. A single-pointed meditation and analytical meditation. The whole purpose is for the true nature of mind is so pure, and if this true nature, it is like the treasure. Each one of us, we have the treasure within us, the treasure to give you the perfect happiness and to get rid of all the fears. But the fact that we don't feel it is because that this treasure is hidden, is obscured by the mental defilements. Like the gold, when mixed with soil, then the gold is not visible. The glow of the gold is not visible. This is not because that the gold is not there. It's because of the obstructions from the soil. Likewise, the mind, our mind, each one of our minds are free from, they have the true nature of the mind is so pure, so rich, full of happiness, no fear. But why we feel fear, why we don't feel happiness, is because that nature is in a dormant state, obscured by the mental defilements. So how to get rid of the mental defilements? Any system which helps us to get rid of these mental defilements. So these systems are known as meditation. And meditation, some are very basic meditation, some very sophisticated meditation. There's so many kinds of there. In short, meditations can be classified into two: a single-pointed meditation and analytical meditation. Good. Okay, the meditation. Can you hear me? Attention, this the chest on. Okay, so the meditation is of two kinds. With the light is to dispel the darkness, and this meditation should be treated like a light. The light should have two qualities. One is that the light should be very bright. Number two, that the light should be very steady. If the light is very feeble, then the light doesn't serve the purpose for us to read books. So light must be very bright. And even though light is bright, but if from the corner of the house or the room there's wind blowing, then the light is very flickering. It must be free from being flickery. It should be steady. So light should be very bright and steady. Likewise, our mind, finally, to meditate and to get rid of all the mental defilements, this mind should be the wisdom. This wisdom should have two qualities. One is the brightness of the wisdom, and the number two is the steadiness of the wisdom. The brightness of wisdom can be brought out, can be introduced through analytical meditation. So analytical meditation is required for us to make our wisdom very sharp and bright. And then the single-pointed meditation is required for us to have this wisdom very steady. So these are the two meditations required. So what we do now is this single pointed meditation, 5 minutes brief meditation, then followed by the analytical meditation, which requires more thinking. For that matter, the whole class that we're doing is more to dedicate on the analytical meditation. But single point meditation, if you have the instruction, is not that difficult. Only thing is that we need to get the proper instruction. But for the analytical meditation, it requires more studies, information, reflection, and so forth. Okay, for the single point meditation, 4 things to keep in mind. One is the body posture. Then number 2 is the focal point. Focal point meaning what are you going to meditate on. Then number 3 is identifying the errors of meditation. And number 4, applying the remedies. Number 1. What's number 1? Body posture. Body posture is also known as the Buddha Vairocana's body posture. Vairocana's body posture, cross-legged. Cross-legged. Also referred to as the Padmasana, which is your left foot should be on your right, the right leg, and the right foot should be on your left leg. So if this is what you can do, this would be very helpful, particularly on a daily basis. If you can do it, this will help us to keep our mind, the basic frame of our mind, very fresh and alert. Number 1. Whereas if you cannot, then what you can do is that you can try this, and if both the feet, you cannot do it full posture, then you can do 1, and then see if it pains or not pain. After a while, if it starts paining, you can again release it. Release it, let the pain go away. Once the pain is gone again, bring it back. And then once you're comfortable with the one leg, then you do with the second one also. The second one, just it'll take a little time. And then gradually your body is also very flexible. And only if you have a knee problem, you have knee replacement knee replacements done, then one should be very careful. Don't force it yourself. This is something that you have to take care of. Otherwise, this is, if you can do it, if you have no problem with knees or whatever, this is something which we can do, and it's a matter of practice. 1. Number 2, which is so important, is the body must be upright. Body must be upright. Let us make it a habit. In fact, when I was younger, I think age 10, 15, 16, 17, I used to sit like this. This is how I used to sit. So this is a very bad posture. Always, whether you're meditating or not meditating, your body, always try to keep it upright. And if possible, try to look at the posture of others, particularly people who do yogas, how they sit. See, the shoulder must be a little, straightened. It should not be curved. For example, like this. If it's curved like this is not a good posture. So, you look at others to see how for example, some people, they sit like this. There's not a good posture. Initially, when you try it, it's not comfortable. You just sit on the chair or sit on the floor, cross-legged, and then body upright, and your shoulder little, the stretched out. So there, it may not be so comfortable. Then as you practice it, as you keep doing this, gradually, when you sit like this, it's very uncomfortable. Instantly, you can feel that your mind the clarity disappears. You sit like this, instantly, the clarity in mind comes. So the point is that what's the relationship between the body posture and the mind? The body posture, when the body posture is proper and intact, then the channels in a body, they are put into proper track. When the channels are put in proper track, then the energy that flows in a channel is very smooth. So energy, the flow of the energy and the process of mind, these two are very closely connected. So the body posture affects the channels. Channels affect the flow of the smooth flow of the energy, and the energy affects the mental state. So this is how they're connected. Okay, so the moment you sit like this, body upright, and your chest, the chest coming out. So this would be an extremely healing the posture. Then your head tilted forward a little bit, not too much, forward a little bit, like this. And then the second most important thing is your eyes not closed. Don't close your eyes. Keep your eyes half open, naturally half open. Don't strain your eyes. Natural half open and 45 degrees cast down. For example, like this. And if you strain your eyes, okay, some texts, the text mentioned that eyes should be the cast on the tip of your nose. So this is generally tip of the nose, but it's not necessary, because finally the comfort must be there. It should let go of the discomfort. In other words, if you keep your eyes 45 degrees cast down, it's perfect. And your eyes open is number one. Then your body upright position. These two are the two most important features. And then if you're going to do long-term meditation, then the cross-legged position is extremely helpful. So this, you practice it. Okay. And then your right hand on your left hand. Right hand on your left hand. And the tips of the two thumbs joining. And the two thumbs standing, two thumbs not flat, standing, forming a triangle. Place the two hands on your laps in restful state. Okay, this is your body posture. And breathe naturally. Breathe naturally. Don't force your breath. Don't stop your breath. Don't control your breath. Don't force your breath. Just let the breath flow very naturally. And the tip of the tongue should touch the upper palate to avoid excessive accumulation of saliva in your mouth. Generally, when you meditate, there's a tendency that the saliva gets accumulated. One at a time. At the bottom of your mouth, saliva may get accumulated, and at the top, the mouth you may feel dry. So the point is that whether to keep your lips open or closed, that's up to your individual experience. So what is important is that the tip of the tongue should touch the upper palate. It doesn't mean that it will stop all the saliva accumulation, but it will be the minimum. Okay, this is your body posture. What is number two? Alhamdulillah. Focal point. Number two is focal point. What you're going to meditate on. What you're going to meditate on. There are so many versions of the practices. It's not that one is better over the other. They're all good, provided they're all coming from a very standard traditions. Standard lineage, standard traditions. Okay, what we are doing is a very simple one, yet extremely effective and beneficial. Okay, what is that? It's the two things. Focal point, two things happening simultaneously. Okay, one, just count the breath. Breathe in, breathe out, naturally. Cycle one, again breathe in, breathe out. Cycle two, this is what you're going to count. We are going to count the cycles. Each cycle has the taking in of the breath and taking out of the breath. This is one thing that we do. Then simultaneously, multitasking. Simultaneously, what we do is that we focus on a tiny dot, tiny white dot, 1 mm or 2 mm in diameter, or 3 mm in diameter. If you find it so difficult to visualize a very tiny dot, then you can visualize like the 3 mm diameter or 4 mm in diameter. The white dot between the nose and the upper lip. Okay, just touch this place. Touch the spot between the nose and the upper lip. Just, do you feel this? Don't look at it. Do you feel it? Do you feel it? Okay, just scratch yourself from behind. Scratch. Do you feel the scratch? You feel the scratch? You feel the scratch? Okay. Your eyes are not looking at it, but you could feel it. You know that, yes, I'm scratching myself. Likewise, this dot, tiny dot, your eyes are not looking at it. Your eyes are not looking at this tiny dot. It is your mind which feels that, oh yes, I'm scratching myself. So this mind, which knows that you are scratching yourself, this mind is going to visualize this dot. And if you find it difficult, then what you do is at home, in your room, you can just say, if possible, the paper with a punch. Make a hole, then the white paper, the small round white part comes out. This white part that comes out. So this round part, you attach it between nose and upper lid, and then you look at the mirror. Because some people, they complain about this. They say that I cannot visualize things. If you cannot, if this is your problem, visualization, then attach the white, something round, perfectly round, done by the punch. Make a hole, and the small piece round that comes out, circle, that you touch it here and attach it here, and then look at the mirror. How does it look? So this is, and close the eyes and visualize that. You can do it properly, then you go and sit. Okay, two things happening. One is count with the breath, count with the cycles of breath. Breathe in, breathe out, cycle 1. Breathe in, breathe out, cycle 2. This is what we're going to do. Multitasking. While you count the breath, you also focus on the tiny white dot between nose and the upper lip, and your eyes are not looking at it. Okay, you got it clear? Good. This is what we're going to do. This is focal point. What is number 3?
Identify the
Yes, Hamza. Identifying the errors of meditation. Okay, errors of meditation, there are 2. Errors of meditation, generally speaking, there are many errors of meditation, but in a very generic form, we can say that there are 2 kinds. One is mental excitement, and the other one is mental scattering, the mental laxity. Mental excitement and mental laxity. Mental excitement is when your mind becomes overactive, and mental laxity is when your mind becomes passive. When your mind starts to sleep, when your mind starts to sink, when your mind becomes heavy, lethargic. Okay, that is one problem. And the other problem is overactive of the mind. Your mind starts to scatter and be distracted here and there. So these are the 2 errors of meditation. And should any of these 2 things happen, no need to panic, no need to freak, no need to worry. Go for the number 4. What is number 4? Yes. Yes.
Rectifying the error.
Very good. Applying the remedies to overcome the errors, to rectify the errors. Okay. To rectify the errors or applying the remedies, there are 2 remedies. One is the introspection, and the other one is mindfulness. Introspection and mindfulness. What is introspection? What is mindfulness? Imagine that you have a pet dog and you lost a pet dog. If you lost a pet dog, your mind, which should be meditating on the breath, meditating on the tiny dot, Your mind is like the pet dog. If you lose the pet dog, what do? First, you go in search of the pet dog. This is introspection. Like the spy. The spy's job is not to implement, just to observe what is happening. Where's my pet dog? Okay, this is the introspection. With the introspection, once you see that your mind, like the pet dog, you find it somewhere, then what you do is that the job of the introspection is done. Next is job of the rope. Tie the dog with the rope and bring it back to the home and tie to the pillar at the home. Likewise, our mind, which is like the pet dog, when you lost it, first you go in search of that. Going in search of that is introspection. The moment you see that your mind is distracted or the mind is in a lax state, the job of the introspection is done. Next is the job of the rope-like mindfulness. Mindfulness is to bring the mind back to the intended object of the meditation. Okay, this is what we are doing for 5 minutes. And we should be extremely careful, particularly reading books, study, reflection. That's one thing. For single point of meditation, right from the beginning, we have to make sure that you follow the steps properly. If you don't follow the steps properly, and if the mental excitement and mental activity, the two areas of meditation, if they happen, and if you just keep going without having these two under check, then your meditation can become poison. Your meditation is supposed to be the healing factor, supposed to be the medicine. Your meditation should be the medicine to heal your mind. But if you don't do the meditation properly, the medicine can turn into poison. So therefore, right from the beginning, no need to freak, no need to worry. Only thing is to follow these steps well. Ready? 5 minutes. Okay. When doing meditations, there are some tips that we need to keep in mind. One is that in a warmer places where you may use AC or you may use fan, particularly if you use fan, then what happens is that the tablecloth and is some hangings like scarf, flags, and so forth, they may move. They will move. When they move, then it's very disturbing. It's very disturbing. So when you meditate, you should make sure that these physical objects like the reflex and so forth, which are within purview of your eyesight, they should not move. This is very important, number one. If it's moving, because you are doing the meditation with eyes open. With eyes open, then because we are not trained, our eyes are so powerful, they will dominate our mental consciousness. So mental consciousness should be meditating, and your eyes will dominate your mental consciousness because the movement will easily distract us. For example, a small baby, when the baby starts crying, you move something like move like this, instantly the attention is moved, directed. So our eyes are very powerful. Therefore, this is the one thing, movement. Number two is sound. Sound. For example, the aircon, the sound of the aircon. Sound of the aircon. This is not problem. This is not problematic. It is a smooth sound, smooth and consistent sound. Whereas, if the sound is not consistent, if the sound is intermittent, for example, like a clock. Digital clocks are fine, but these clocks, what do you call it? Analog clocks. Analog clocks, there are two kinds. Analog clocks which are silent and which makes the sound tick, 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 which makes a sound. This is extremely, extremely disturbing. So the text says that the sound, we should be away from the sound, particularly disturbing sounds, as much as possible. For example, in some places, the rivers, they are so forceful. Some rivers are very gentle, but some are extremely forceful, and the sound is very scary. So this is very disturbing for meditation. In fact, I personally remember when I was in Manali, the Manali River, it is extremely, the sound is so ferocious, it's very disturbing. This is one thing. Then the next one is next one you check it through your own experience. Let's say the cloth, your eyes fortified the cast down, half open, and the object that is in front of you. Object should not be too colorful or varied in colors and varied in designs. There are so many complicated designs there. It will instantly pull your attraction. So these, if possible, keep the object in front of you simple, but don't be too finicky about that. As long as it is not like, for example, say this, the brocade. These are quite, the one is colorful. Number two is that there are so many detailed the designs, very varying designs. If something which is very plain design, no problem. Our mind can easily adjust, but when it is very complicated designs, very intricate designs, our mind can easily be pulled by that. So this is something that we need to note of. Okay, good. So today what I'm thinking of doing is the Sutra on Dependent Origination. This is a very short sutra. Okay, let us turn to page. I don't know whether it's the same page. Okay, make sure that we all have this book. It is the Noble Mahayanan Sutra, Dependent Arising. Is it on page 61? 57. Okay, just see page 57. What do you have on page 57? Page 57. How about that? What is it? Noble Mahayanan Sutra, Dependent Arising?
Yes.
Yes, and you? Same. Here, the two girls here? Same?
Yes.
Yes. Good. Ajadavimla. Good. Over there. Good. Namjala. Okay. Okay. So this is what we're going to study. This is an extremely precious the precious text and this Buddhism today, we see, broadly speaking, there are the three versions of Buddhism. Okay, let's say broadly speaking, two versions of Buddhism. Buddhism available in Pali language and Buddhism available in Sanskrit language. Two. Is it too cold? Oh, I see. Rimbila, no problem. Oh, good. Is it too cold for you? Tijala. Okay, good. And Dijumar. Dashash. Okay, Buddhism, what we see is the one which is available in Pali language. Presently, we see that this is available in Sri Lanka, Burma, Thailand, Cambodia, and where else? And part of Vietnam and other places as well, predominant in these places. Whereas the Buddhism that flourished, Buddhism in Sanskrit, predominantly from Nalanda in the 1st century AD and 2nd century AD, it traveled to China. And from China, it traveled to Japan, Korea, and so forth. This is one part. The second part of the Buddhism in Sanskrit language. So it traveled from Nalanda to Tibet, Vikramashila also, and Nalanda, and also the from Kashmir to Tibet. That is that is the Buddhism in Sanskrit language. 2. Buddhism in Pali language today is known as Theravada Buddhism. Theravada Buddhism and Buddhism in Sanskrit language today predominantly 2. One is the Chinese Buddhism and the Tibetan Buddhism. And many people, they have the, let's say, misnomer meaning that the Chinese Buddhism people call as the Mahayanan Buddhism, and Tibetan Buddhism, people call as Vajrayana Buddhism. This is totally misnomer. And yet this is something which even in the universities, anywhere in the various universities, this is how they use they classify the Buddhism. Theravada Buddhism, Mahayanan Buddhism, and Vajrayana Buddhism. This is not the good way of classification. This is a total indication of the lack of knowledge. In other words, Theravada Buddhism we can say is correct. Then they say the Theravada Buddhism versus Mahayanan Buddhism. Within Mahayanan Buddhism, then we can classify into 2. Sutrayana Buddhism and the Tantrayana Buddhism or Vajrayana Buddhism within Mahayana. Sutrayana Mahayana Buddhism and the Vajrayana Mahayana Buddhism. If this is how you classify, this is the perfect way of classification. Okay, so with this in mind, now this sutra, the Noble Mahayanan Sutra, Dependent Arising, In other words, the mantra, which is very famous and which is extremely important, precious, which is one of the closest mantras to the heart of the Buddha. He dharma hetu prabhava, hetum desham tathagato, he avatat, desham jayo nirodha, evam vadi ma shamanai soham. This mantra we must recite by heart. We must learn by heart. We must learn by heart, and not only that we know the meaning, but not only that we're able to recite it, we must also know the meaning. Know the meaning so well, and you know the meaning, and then you see from this sutra, the Buddha very clearly indicated the preciousness, how beneficial that is. So the benefits the Buddha is indicating here in the sutra, related to the recipe, related to this mantra, is on the basis of somebody understanding the meaning of the mantra and then reflecting on the meaning of the mantra. Whereas if you don't reflect on the meaning, or if you don't know the meaning, if you don't reflect on the meaning, the benefit is going to be much less. Okay. With this in mind, okay, first, the title, the Noble Mahayanan Sutra. Noble is the Arya. Arya, noble to superior. Superior, Mahayana Sutra. The title is Dependent Arising. Dependent arising or dependent origination. So when you keep in mind that dependent arising or dependent origination, there are three levels of dependent origination. There are three levels of dependent origination, and dependent origination or dependent arising is a matter of translation. In Sanskrit, it is pratit samutpad. Pratit samutpad. And Tibetan, tendel. Tendel or tenjung, same. Tendel or tenjung. This is so important. And there are three levels. One is dependent origination of the results, dependence on the causes, or in simple terms, causal dependent origination. Causal dependent origination, or the dependent origination of the results, dependence on causes, number one. For example, let's say that somebody who did his or her PhD. So there is a result of many years of studies. The result, which comes into being by dependence on the causes of many years of studies as the cause. So that is the dependent origination of the results, dependence on the causes. Then number two is the dependent origination of the wholes, dependence on the parts. This room is the whole, W-H-O-L-E, whole. And this room has this building, okay, let's say this building as a whole comes into being by dependence on the multiple parts. This is a dependent origination of the wholes, dependence on the parts. This is number two. Then number three is very important. Number three is very important. Dependent origination of dependence on mere mental designation. Dependent origination of dependence on mere mental designation. Okay, so this, let's say that okay, let's say, for example, let's say okay, let's say Hamola. What's the meaning of Hamo?
Geshe deity.
Deity or the goddess. Hamola, are you goddess?
No, Geshe.
Okay, so it's a mere designation. Just okay, and then your name?
Pasang.
Huh?
Pasang.
Pasang. Okay, do you know what's the meaning of Pasang?
Yes.
What is it?
It's Friday.
Friday. Are you Friday?
No.
You're not Friday. You're not Friday. You are just designated as a label, pasang, right? And over there,
Skalzam. Skalzam.
kasang. What's the meaning?
It's Kalpa Zampu. I don't know.
What's the meaning? Kalpa Sambhavas. The fortunate one.
Unfortunately.
Okay, she can be. She's a really fortunate one. Yes, that I agree. Okay, here.
Chimpi.
What's the meaning, Chimpi?
There is no meaning.
Oh, you have meaning, right? Yes, this girl has a meaning, but given the name which doesn't have any meaning, right? Okay, so, and over there, Sandeep, what's the meaning?
I always say light of the sun.
Okay, light of the sun. Are you the light of the sun?
But it's just a meaning which I tell which this is what I say if somebody asks me anywhere outside, they don't know the name Sandeep, so I always say sun and deep. Or
I
otherwise
see.
Sandeep,
That's interesting. No.
to make it simple.
In Hindi, what's the meaning, Sandeep?
I think sun means century. That's what I try to find out. And deep is light, so something like that. This
Deep
a
is light.
typical-
That's fine.
Yes.
Yeah. So still, there you are in the search.
I'm still on the research. Yes.
Okay, the sun. Okay. Here, Pradeep is light. Right?
प्रदीप किसी ने बोला था कि लाइट इसका मीनिंग लाइट ही होता है मतलब
हाँ?
दीपक दीपक दीपक
No, that's fine. Pra. What is a pra?
pra
Pradeep.
is prefix.
Yes, what's the meaning?
I don't know.
Okay, so basically, this is something something unique about Hindi from Devanagari, Hindi, Sanskrit, and from that Tibetans also copied that. Pra, in for example, say Beeb is the light. Nawa, Raptu Nawa. Raptu means the excessively, very adjectives. So the adjectives are there. Okay, what does it even be? No meaning. Okay. Okay, good. So what I'm saying is that there are things which we can easily identify that, okay, just the labels are given just for the sake of the labels. Labels are given from the object, the girl there is not Friday, right? It's not Friday, it's a human being. It's a human being, it's not Friday, but the label is given. It's just merely labeled. Merely labeled as a Friday, but it's not Friday. Okay, now this is one very simple example. From this, what we to learn that everything label means from the girl there, if we look for which is Friday, we'll never find Friday. Right? So Friday is not from the object, it's just given label. Label is subject to object. Subject. So just a name given from the subject, from the object, there's nothing that we found as a Friday. You're getting it? So likewise, we will learn that anything that exists in this universe, everything that exists in the universe, they exist simply through the labelings, nothing from the object. This is what we're going to learn. Okay, let's say, this is very important. Okay, let's say, what is this?
Flower.
Flower.
It's a flower.
Okay, the Kesala, what is this? Left hand, what is this?
Nothing.
Nothing's there. Okay, Chimpi, right? Oh, Chimpi, what is the right hand?
Flower.
Flower, what is in the left hand? Nothing's there. Okay, now the Sandeep. Imagine all of us, not only Sandeep, all of us. In my left hand, imagine a blue flower. Okay, Pradeepji, tell me, what is in my right hand? Flower, red flower. What is in left hand? Okay, that's good. There's no flower there, but we assume or imaginary blue flower. Okay, now somebody should tell me the difference between these two. The red flower in my right hand and the imaginary blue flower in my left hand. Tell me the difference between the two. Very quick. Rimbila, what's the difference? There are innumerable numbers of difference. You're getting it?
Yeah.
It's not that okay, if what I say may be correct, may not be correct, I'll become hesitant. No, you don't have to be hesitant. Any answer that you're going to give 100% going to be correct. Yes.
Yeah, so the red flower we can touch, and the
The
imaginary
red flower is something that we can touch,
It's
and imagine blue flower is
substantially
something which you cannot
we
touch.
touch.
Very good. Anybody else? Hamula, what's the difference between these two? The red flower in the right hand and the imaginary blue flower in the left hand. What's the difference?
Color difference.
Huh?
Color difference, Keshila.
Color difference. Okay, the right hand is
Red flower and,
And the left one is?
imaginary blue flower.
imaginary blue flower is blue.
blue.
Is it blue? Oh,
Imaginary blue.
Okay, the imaginary blue is not blue, right? It's not color. Okay, yes, one is color, one does not have color. One is imaginary color. Very good. Sandeep. One you can see, imaginary blue flower you cannot see. Okay, why? Why the imaginary flower you cannot see? You're imagining.
Yeah.
Okay, good,
Yeah.
good. Pasala, what's the difference? Huh?
I can't think of any other differences.
Okay, Chibi. Huh? There are multiple differences.
Oh, the one is real and other one is
One is real and the other one's not real. Very good. Yes, Chimbi. Kesala. Priti.
One is real and another is imagination.
One is real and one is imagined. What is the big difference between the real and imagination? Imagination is coming from your mind. The real is coming from the object. You're getting it? Okay. Now, in other words, do you agree with me that most of you give the answer like one is real, one is not real, one is seen, one is not seen, one is touched, one cannot be touched. Okay, so one which you call as real is something coming from the object. One which is not real is something coming from our mind. Do you agree with me? Object, what's the opposite of the object? Subject. Object, subject. So this flower, the red flower, in the loose sense, this red flower is from the object. Imagine blue flower is from the subject. So what is from the object, we call it objectively real or objectively existent. What is coming from the subject, we call it subjectively existent. Now tell me, dream. Dream is objectively real or subjectively real? Subjectively real. Very good. Mirage. Objectively real or subjectively real? Mirage. Mirage, we see the mirage is water. But there's no water there. It is coming from the subject. Subject real. So from this what we're going to learn is that not only the dream, not only the imaginary flower, not only the mirage, everything that exists in the universe, they are subject to real. Okay, now tell me, in the dream, when you dream of very scary, when you have a very scary dream, when you have a nightmare of, let's say, somebody coming to fight with you, what's your experience? Joy or unhappiness? Huh?
Scared and unhappiness.
Scared and unhappiness, right? Very good. When you have a dream of nightmare where somebody's coming to fight with you with the knife or with the gun, very scary and very unhappy. Okay. In the dream, you see the person, the dream person coming to fight with you as a real person coming to fight with you, and you see that as a dream person coming to fight with you? How do you see that in the dream? Huh? Rimbila, how do you see that?
In a dream, I'm not realizing it's a dream, so I find it's very.
In the dream, you don't realize that as a dream. You see the dream person, the dream nasty person as a real nasty person. You're getting it? Okay, seeing the dream nasty person as a real nasty person, is this ignorance or wisdom? Huh? Chimbi? Ignorance. So ignorance, what's the result? The result is fear, scared, fear. Ignorance, with ignorance, seeing the dream is real, seeing the dream is objectively real, then the result is fear. When will you realize that the dream nasty person is not a real nasty person? When will you realize that? In the dream or outside the dream? Outside the dream. Outside the dream, we realize that this is not real. So seeing the dream nasty person as a not a real nasty person, this is ignorance or this is wisdom. Seeing the nasty person, seeing the dream nasty person as subjectively real, not objectively real. That is ignorance or dream, ignorance or wisdom. Wisdom. So what's the benefit of this wisdom? The benefit of the wisdom is that your fear dissolves. The moment you realize that it was just my dream, right? Then your fear dissolves. What do you want? You want fear or you want to dissolve the fear? Kesala, what do you want? Dissolve the fear. If you want to dissolve the fear, dissolution of the fear is because of the wisdom. Fear is because of the ignorance. If you want fear, embrace ignorance. If you want to dissolve the fear, embrace wisdom. You're getting it? This is extremely important. So with this in mind, the dependent origination, there are three kinds. The third one is dependent origination of dependence on mere mental designation, meaning that dependent origination of how everything is subjectively real. Number three, dependent origination of how everything is subjectively real, nothing is objectively real. This is the third level of dependent origination. If you know these three levels of dependent origination, then we study this text, this would be extremely helpful. Okay, the Buddha taught, in one sutra, the Buddha taught that, okay, this is what we should not forget it. We should know this. The Buddha taught, whosoever sees, so Buddha was passing by a rice field. And how many of you have seen rice field? Amjala, rice field? Yes. Chinbi Kesala?
Only in TV.
Only in TV, okay. Po Kesala? No. Pasala? No. Pradipla? No. Ajala? No. Oh, Sandeep? Yes. Okay, so there are many unfortunate people. Yeah. Okay, I've seen. I don't know. When I see the crops growing, particularly grains growing, it gives me something, it connects me to very profound feeling. Profound meaning is not like philosophy, like this is not the meaning. Meaning like some kind of nostalgia. This is what is coming to me. Since my childhood, I'm wondering whether this is because of this life during my childhood, like age 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 there, I must have seen these crops, so that memory is now bringing this nostalgia, or from my past life. I'm not too sure. So this was something so prominent in my mind. Like that, each one of us, we must have your own experience, right? You see something that would make you very nostalgic, poignant, nostalgia. Do you have any such experience? Huh? Chippy? No? Yes, like, can you give...
All my silence.
Huh?
All my childhood time was there.
All?
Where do you feel I go for to do the thing that,
When you see the peripherals, you feel that.
yeah.
That kind of nostalgia. I see, we're in the same category.
I know how to do that.
No, what I'm saying, nostalgia here, meaning like, a feeling of a deep feeling of, say, like a deja vu, or let's say, for example, say you have from childhood. Say, in fact, I remember when I was aged like 5, 6, 7, there was one boy who was also around the same age as me, and then we were in the same school, we were friends. And then suddenly school somehow selected some of the students, and they were sent to Switzerland. Since young age 6, 7, he was sent to Switzerland. So that happened, and so now that memory, that is not that intense as informed feeling. Earlier, when I was age 9, 10, when I could remember him, there was a feeling of me missing him. Like this, when you see something like not like deja vu, like missing, feeling of, you say as well, like something is missing within you. You just miss that object. So like this, when I see the crops, that feeling is coming. Connection, feeling of missing, and like, you just feel like crying. Something of this kind is coming. Okay, any of this happened? Amala? No? Wow, that's lucky. Pasala?
I didn't understand. Why is it because you are so close to him?
No, that was just an example that I'm giving so that you can easily relate to. For example, in my case, I remember so when I see like not really swimming pool, but something like swimming pool, but no water, without water, and the constructions like the level of 3 feet, 4 feet. There is like the square, or can be a little bigger, but no full wall up there. So when I see these, since my childhood, when I see this gives me a feeling of, the memory of something. What memory? I don't know. Maybe from my past life, right? I don't know. Okay, these things were happening. Something of this kind would ever happen to you, Pradiji? No? Oh, that's strange. Ajidawala? No, nothing. Okay, interesting. Sandeep?
Yes, many times.
Like what? Can you give me some examples?
Yes, sometimes it has happened, like you said, even those rice fields or even the tea gardens, you're there, you really feel very connected and you get some old memories.
I'm sure I was not a tea garden in my past life.
Yeah.
Tea garden, it doesn't give me any of this feeling, but Sandeep is feeling.
Yes, you feel nostalgic, you feel
it. You this feeling.
Some kind of deep feeling comes inside, but it has happened many times, like you feel something is missing somewhere with something or the other. Even looking at the sky sometimes.
Yes. Then, Vibila, that's strange. I thought that this must be happening to everybody. Tejala, happening?
Not with any places, but
I have so many times I met somebody first time. I'm meeting somebody first time, but I feel that I have met this person before also.
Okay. That's also one thing. Yes. Yes. Namyala?
Sometimes I miss like something happening. Sometimes I feel it.
Okay, sometimes you do feel that. Okay, that's interesting. Hamla? Nothing. That's interesting. Okay, so the point is that, why did I say this? Okay, rice. Yes, thank you. Okay, so the Buddha was at one point passing by the rice field. And the Buddha stopped there. Buddha stopped, and then Buddha pointed to the rice shoots. Pointed to the rice shoots, and then told monks, look, whosoever sees, pointing to the rice shoots, the Buddha said, whosoever sees dependent origination will see the dharma. Whosoever sees the dharma will see the Buddha. You're getting it? This is extremely important teaching of the Buddha. Whosoever sees the dependent origination will see the dharma, and whosoever sees the dharma will see the Buddha. Okay, Buddha here doesn't mean that you will see the Buddha Shakyamuni. This is not the connotation. You will become Buddha. This point. Your mental defilements will be removed and the gold will come out. Your 100% happiness will come out. Your suffering will become zero and your happiness will become 100%. This will manifest. This is the meaning of the Buddha, not Buddha Shakyamuni is just one example. Okay, so in this connection, say whosoever sees dependent origination will see the dharma. So this dependent origination is more precisely in the context of the first level of dependent origination. First level of dependent origination is about the 12 links of dependent origination. And whosoever sees the dependent origination will see the dharma. So this dharma is the Eightfold Noble Path. The dharma of the Eightfold Noble Path. Then whosoever sees the Eightfold Noble Path will see the Buddha. Meaning that whosoever practices the Eightfold Noble Path will achieve Buddhahood, will achieve full awakening. This is meaning. With this in mind, what is important is that, let's say that this understanding of dependent origination and first level of dependent origination will take us to understand this second level of dependent origination more easily. If you understand the second level of dependent origination, then it will make easy to understand the third level of dependent origination. So with this, then you will realize the dharma of the Eightfold Noble Path. And with the Eightfold Noble Path, then you will see the Buddha, meaning that you will achieve Buddhahood. This is the meaning. So with this, the point is that finally, that if you see dependent origination, you will see the reality. So tell me, what is the cause of the miseries which we learn right now? In the dream, right? Say why we have to fear, because of ignorance or because of wisdom? Because of ignorance. Because of ignorance, the fear is given rise to. So if you don't want the fear, what should we do? We should embrace wisdom. What is wisdom? Wisdom is a discerning mind whose apprehension of the object tallies with the reality. Wisdom is a discerning mind whose apprehension of the object tallies with the reality. What's the next question? What's the reality? This question. What's the reality? The reality is the reality of dependent origination. So this sutra is known as the Noble Mahayanan Sutra, dependent arising. So we have to know the reality. In order, we have to cultivate the wisdom for which we need to know the reality. We need to know the dependent arising, dependent origination. Okay, so now this mantra, Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava, Hetum Desham Tathagato, Hyavatat, Desham Jayu Nirota, Evam Vadima Shramane Swa. This mantra we must recite, we must learn by heart, know the meaning, and then see the benefit. After seeing the benefit of this mantra recitation with the knowledge of the meaning, then we have to, through studying this text, then the benefit that you get out of reciting this mantra is going to be immense. Okay, let's see. The Noble Mahayanan Sutra, the dependent arising. Okay, Arya Pratit Samutpad Pada Mahayana Nama Mahayanan Sutra. Arya Pratit Samutpata Nama Mahayanan Sutra. Okay. Arya is the noble. Pratit Samutpat is dependent arising. Pratit Samutpat, dependent arising. Nama is the this is. Nama is this is. Nama Mahayana, the great vehicle, Sutra, Mahayana Sutra. Okay, homage to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Okay, the homage to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. This is the edition by the translator, not the English translator, but the Tibetan translators. Unlike today's translations in Tibet, the translations are extremely standardized. Just by looking at the homage to whom? From there, you will see the content of the subject matter. Homage made to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Homage made to the omniscient ones. Homage made to the Aramanjushri. Right? So from these are the three main homages. From the homage you will see the subject matter of the text. So this is how meticulously planned, standardized. You are not okay. If I'm the translator, if I translate this, I cannot put my own homage. It's already, the king has already decreed that if the text, the subject matter is of one particular subject, then the homage must be made to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Whereas if the homage is if the subject matter is of different subject, then homage must be made to Aramanjushri, and so forth. Okay, so the point is that broadly speaking, there are three homages: homage to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, homage to Aramanjushri, and homage to the omniscient ones. For that matter, so what is the difference? The subject matter, finally, subject matter of the teachings depend on what we should practice. Finally, what we should practice is what we learned. This, how many kinds of meditation are there? Two kinds of meditation. What are there? Single point of meditation and analytical meditation. So do you remember the example that I gave you? What example did I give you? Kamala?
Kishila, first one, chasing after the dog. Like,
that is going into the detail. Analytical meditation, single point of meditation, I give you one example.
The light one, that you need a steady light.
A light, right? Finally, we have to remove the darkness of the mental defilements so that your happiness, 100% happiness comes out and your suffering becomes zero. For that, you have to have the light of the wisdom be introduced. So this light of the wisdom should have two qualities. What are they? Brightness and the
Steadiness.
steadiness. You're getting it? Brightness. For the brightness, what do we want? We want the analytical meditation. For the steadiness, what do we want? We need the single point meditation. You're getting it? Okay, so this is what we need. So these two, the brightness is the metaphor for the sharpness of a mind, intelligence of mind, intelligence, sharpness. Sharpness and intelligence is also known as the wisdom or pragya. Wisdom or pragya. Then the next one is the steadiness. A steadiness of the mind, stability to the mind. This is known as samadhi. You're getting it? Samadhi. Samadhi means the mind, the power of the mind, the quality of the mind to remain focused without distraction and without laxity. Without distraction and without laxity. This is the samadhi. For the samadhi, say when we sit for like Singapore meditation for like 1 hour, in most likelihood either we'll be distracted or we will start to fall asleep. We'll feel drowsy. This is what is bound to happen. So whereas to remain very fresh like this, the freshness that we have in the mind, that we have for mind, the first 1 minute, or maybe in many cases even 1 minute, your mind cannot be steady. Maybe the first few seconds, the mind is so fresh. So like this, if you can retain this freshness without scattering, without laxity, if you retain this freshness of the mind, very steady mind for the next like 2 hours, this is amazing stability. So for that matter, this will come to us through training. Training in of course, this is a training in single point meditation. What should we train? How should we train? Train in the two remedies. What are the two remedies? Introspection and mindfulness. You're getting it? Okay. How to train this? For example, if you meditate like this, okay, just focus on the breath. You focus on the breath, then you slowly fall asleep. Or focus on breath, and then, oh, I have laundry to do. Okay, tomorrow is the weekend, I have to go to shopping, right? I have to meet this person, meet that person. Okay, I'm expecting a call from my mother. So your mind is distracted. You're getting it? So there, the point is that we have to control these. And controlling this will come only through practice. What practice? Practice of the introspection and mindfulness. You're getting it? Finally, who is successful in this stability meditation? Stability depends on the power of the introspection and the mindfulness. How powerful is your mindfulness and the introspection? That determines how stable is your meditation. So we have to train in the introspection and the mindfulness. You're getting it? We have to train the introspection and the mindfulness. Training of the introspection and mindfulness, let's say, some people, let's say that, okay, let's say, somebody sees me, right? Somebody sees me, and okay, two persons, let's say, two young persons, let's say your age, maybe, okay, Kesan, how old are you? 20? 23. Here, Pasangla. 24. Here, Chimbi. 25.
27.
Okay, let's say 20s. Those people who are in their 20s, there are two persons who come to me, both in 20s. They said, oh, I thought that Geshe-la, you're going to be so young, you're old. Right? One person says this. One person, in both person, the same thought comes, but one say directly, one doesn't say it. Why one doesn't say that? Oh, this is offensive, it's not good to say. What automatically comes out? What the thought inside automatically comes out. You're getting, which means the person does not take control of the mindfulness and the introspection. What to say, what not to say. This control is not there. When the control is not there, verbally everything comes out. Physically, somebody says, "What are you doing?" Right? What are you doing? You don't have anything else to do. How dare you say like this? Then physically, it becomes uncontrollable. Physical uncontrollable, verbal uncontrollable. And then some, okay, that person says something so nasty, but I must control physically. I must control my verbal, right? Person has a very good control of physical and verbal, but mentally anger is there. And in the person, even the mental also under control. You're getting it? So control of your bond, of yourself. Control of yourself is the practice of the introspection and mindfulness. No, I should not be saying this. I should not be doing like this. Right? Mindfulness and the introspection. What am I doing? I'm about to say something which is nasty. Right? I'm about to say, no, I should not say this. You control it. You first be mindful. First be introspective. And then you apply your mindfulness not to say this. So it's a practice of the introspection and the mindfulness. Don't forget it. So how controlled you are is determined by your control of your power of your introspection and mindfulness. The training in the introspection and mindfulness. Okay, the training in the introspection and mindfulness. Introspection and mindfulness. There are three kinds. Introspection and mindfulness, which is responsible for your physical actions. Introspection and mindfulness, which are responsible for your verbal actions. And introspection and mindfulness, which are responsible for your mental actions. Three. Okay, tell me, which is more difficult to administer? Which is more difficult to be trained? The mindfulness and introspection, which controls your physical action, or which controls your mental? Huh? Tell me.
Mental.
Mental is more difficult? Pasala?
What did you ask?
Oh, wow. My question is, Alhamdulillah, what's the question?
Which one is difficult to control?
Which of the two? Mindfulness and introspection, which controls the physical, is more difficult to be trained, or which controls the mind is more difficult to be trained? Which is more difficult?
Mind.
Oh, Alhamdulillah and Pasana same. And Pradeepji? Mind. Sandeepji? Mind. Ajala? Mind. Namjala? Mind. Okay. Chimbi? Mind. Everybody's mind. That's true. Very true. So, training the introspection and mindfulness, which governs your physical and verbal, they are easier to be trained as compared to the training of the introspection and mindfulness, which governs your mental. You getting it? Okay. So the training, we have to train the stability. We have to train what? To gain the stability of the mind, what should we train? We should be trained in stability of the mind means single pointed. So, for to practice the stability of the mind, for to practice the single pointedness, what should we be trained in? We should be trained in introspection and mindfulness. We should be trained in these two. These two, there are three levels. Which is responsible for your physical actions? which are responsible for your verbal actions, which are responsible for your mental actions. Of the three, which governs your physical and verbal is easier to be trained as compared to which governs your mental. You're getting it? So the training of the introspection mindfulness related to the physical and verbal, these two are cut together. These two are known as the practice of the Shila, practice of the morality, which controls your physical and the verbal actions. Then once you control the physical and verbal, well, then it's only the mental is left. So then the mental one is subtler, more difficult to train. So for that training, to train in the introspection of mindfulness related to the mental action is known as Samadhi practice of Samadhi. So therefore we have Shila, Samadhi, and Pragya. Pragya is the wisdom, the sharpness of the mind. Then for the steadiness, there are two, Shila and Samadhi. These two are for the steadiness of the mind. The Shila is the gross one to control the physical and verbal actions. Mindfulness is the introspection related to physical and verbal actions. And the Samadhi is the mindfulness practice of the mindfulness introspection related to the mental. Okay, these three. So, okay. Now, because that these three are the things that we have to train. We have to train in these three things. What are the three things that we have to train? Shila, which is morality. Samadhi, which is meditative concentration. And Pragya, which is wisdom. These are the three areas that we need to train. Because we need to train these three areas, Buddha taught these three things. Buddha taught this. So the Buddha's teachings, all Buddha's teachings can be somehow subsumed under these three categories. Teachings related to the Shila, teachings related to the Samadhi, teachings related to the Pragya. You getting it? Okay. Now, knowing this, okay, which teaching is this? Is it related to Shila? Shil, Sanskrit, is Shila. There's the sound of the comes out. So in the regular Hindi, Shil. Okay. So what is this text? Is it related to the Shil or Samadhi or Pragya? How do we know this? Look at the homage. If the homage is of the three, what's the first one? Shil, then Samadhi, Pragya. If the subject matter is more with the Shil, then the homage is homage to the omniscient one. Because what do we be trained? What kind of the training should go through? Very subtle trainings are there. Trainings of to administer the physical verbal actions. These trainings, the very just fine details, only the omniscient one knows it. Omniscient one. The moment it says omniscient one, so this is something which the very fine detailed trainings in the Shil, this is what the omniscient one knows. So therefore, when it's a homage to the omniscient ones, you see that, okay, now this practice is more about the Shil, this teaching is more about the Shil or the morality. What's next? Samadhi. So if it is the Samadhi, then the homage is to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. If the subject matter is primarily, we have to say subject matter is primarily, because within the same the sutra, within the same text, all these three things can be taught. So where the emphasis is, if the emphasis is on Samadhi, meditative concentration, then the homage is homage to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Because meditative concentration, their job, through this we can benefit so many beings. For example, with the meditative concentration, you can achieve the miracle powers. Through the miracle power, you can manifest yourself 100,000 times. Say while you are here in Tibet house, you can simultaneously manifest yourself in Delhi, in America, in the South India. You can just manifest yourself innumerable times. So this is how we benefit the sentient beings. So it says that, and who benefits the sentient beings? The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Who benefits sentient beings the most? The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So what is next? Pragya. Pragya is, what is Pragya? Wisdom. With the wisdom, the homage is homage to Arya Manjushri. Because Arya Manjushri is the Buddha or the Bodhisattva of wisdom. Okay, good. So this is the homage. Homage to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. From this, what we learn is that the subject matter of this, the primary subject matter of this sutra is the Samadhi, meditative concentration. Okay, so now I'm reading this and you just listen to this. Thus did I hear at one time. The Blessed One means the Buddha. The Blessed One was in the realm of the 33 gods. So the God realm, there are various levels. One God realm is known as the 33, the level of the realm of the 32 gods. Seated on the throne of Indra. So the Buddha was sitting. So this place, the 33, the God realm. So there, the king of this the realm is King Indra, the god Indra. So the Indra, on the Indra seat, Indra requested the Buddha to sit on the Indra, his own seat. So the Buddha was sitting on the Indra seat. With him were great hearers, such as the Venerable Ashvajit, Bodhisattva Mahasattva such as Noble Maitreya, Noble Avalokiteshvara, and Vajrapani. Okay, all these great Bodhisattvas are also there. Tejala, if possible, we can make, instead of Noble Maitreya, we can say Arya Maitreya. All these, yeah. Vajrapani, who were adorned. Okay, let's say the Bodhisattva Mahasattva such as Noble Maitreya. Arya Maitreya is known for his loving kindness, or he is the Bodhisattva of loving kindness. Then Avalokiteshvara, he is the Bodhisattva of compassion. Then Arya Vajrapani, the Bodhisattva of power. And Arya Manjushri is not here, but the Bodhisattva of wisdom. Arya Maitreya is what? Bodhisattva of loving kindness. Arya Avalokiteshvara is Bodhisattva of compassion. And Arya Vajrapani is Bodhisattva of power. And Arya Manjushri, Bodhisattva of wisdom. Very good. Who are adorned with immeasurable precious qualities, as well as various gods, such as great Brahma. Brahma was also there, who is the Lord of Saha world. Narayana, the great Ishvar, Sakara, who is the chief of the gods, and Panchasika, who is the king of the Gandharvas. Gandharvas is one class of the spirits. In Tibet, we call this Tisa, one class of spirit. This is a very unique thing. In terms of how the Gandharva cities can easily be formed. If you keep the containers open, instantly the whole city of the Gandharva can be formed within the same container. So therefore, in the Tibetan tradition, early in olden times, all these containers, they are always being kept with the container closed or upside down to make sure that the Gandharva cities are not formed. And it is said that the moment you move the glass to the container, then instantly the city is demolished. This is what is being said. So Gandharva, one thing is that the city of the Gandharva can easily be formed, instantly destroyed. Number two is that Gandharvas, the unique quality of the Gandharvas is the skill in music, skill in playing music. There was a story of the one Gandharva, the female Gandharva. He had an affair with the human male, and then a son was born, and the son was born, and then eventually this female Gandharva came in a disguise, of course, came in disguise as a human being, and then eventually somehow the father of the child came to realize that, discover the reality of the mother, and then the mother dissolved the emanation, but she always missed her child. One day in a public gathering, the Gandharva mother came in the disguise of a human, and then they asked somebody, "Do you know this family with the child with the name this?" And the person said, "Yes, I know that." Then this Gandharva mother gave her musical instrument. Gandharva, they are so popular. They're so famous for the musical instruments, playing musical instruments. Gave the musical instrument and told the person that tell this boy that this is a gift present from your mother, and don't lose this. Don't lose this. This will feed you throughout your life. This was what the lady said, and actually was the mother, the Gandharva. And then was given to the child, and the child played this music. This music is extraordinary. The musical, say the melody, everything coming from this musical instrument is far, far better than any other musical instruments. So how the son finally earned his living through playing this musical instrument. Okay, so this is about the Gandharvas. Who is the king of the Panchashika? Who is the king of the Gandharvas? On that occasion, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Aravadukateshvara, so that is in the god and goddess realm, rose from his seat, and having draped his upper robe over one shoulder, knelt down with his right knee on the peak of Mount Meru, his palms together. He then bowed towards the Blessed One, bowed towards the Buddha, and addressed these words to him. What was addressed? Blessed One, the Buddha, these gods, so because that they were in the god realm, these gods all really wish to build a stupa. They all want to build a stupa. Now that they are present in this entourage, please teach them the Dharma in such a way so that they merit to Brahma. Merit to Brahma meaning, to take birth as a Brahma. Brahma is the king of the one class of the gods and goddesses. To be born as the king of the Brahma, you should have so much enormous merit accumulation. So, please teach them how to accumulate that merit which equals the merit required to take birth as a Brahma, will increase. And the merit of monks, nuns, laymen, and laywomen will increase much more than that of all types of beings in the world of gods, Maras, Brahma, including renunciants. And the Brahmins. Renunciants means those who aspired to, who aspired to be free from samsara. Those who work towards becoming achieving freedom from samsara. At this, the Blessed One spoke the verses of dependent arising. So this verse, Ye dharma hetu prabhava, hetum desham tathagato, hevata desham chayo nirodha, evam vadima shamana soham. So this stanza was what instantly the Buddha, the Blessed One, the Buddha, taught the mantra. So this mantra is also referred to as the essence of dependent origination mantra. In Tibetan, it is known as Tende Nyingbu Sunga. Tendel Nyingbu Sunga. Tendel Yingbu Sunga. Okay. Essence of dependent origination mantra. Essence of dependent origination mantra. Tendel Yingbu Sunga. Okay, we have to know this meaning. Before we go through this meaning, what we need to know is that what do we want? Okay, just tell me what is the meaning of. Say, if somebody asks you, what do you want to accomplish? Deep inside, what do you want, or what do you want to accomplish? Tamala. Okay, let us all try. Yes, Tamala. What do you want?
Happiness.
Happiness. Should be.
Happiness.
No, they just tell me, oh, good job, or say what, or good car, or good holiday, whatever.
Good holiday.
Huh? No, up to you. There are so many things. Good mobile. No, then
Happiness.
happiness. Kesala.
Wealth and happiness.
Well, then happiness. Very good. Pasala.
Happiness of my parents.
Happiness of my parents. Very good. Pradeepji.
Wealth as well as spiritual upliftment.
Okay, wealth as well as spiritual upliftment. Very good. Ajala.
Satisfaction.
Satisfaction. Sandeep. Good feeling around. Tijmala.
Right now, fancy dinner.
Huh?
Right now, fancy dinner.
I'm not talking about just right now. I'm talking about generally.
Generally, similar satisfaction.
Satisfaction. Tijala.
Should be able to be of some benefit to the world.
Okay, some benefit for the world. Rimbila.
Difficult Gejala to explain, but
The
yes,
whole family should be very harmonious.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Namgyala.
Yeah.
The big family, right? Not the nuclear family. Whole big family should be harmonious. Namgyala.
Good health.
Oh, good health. Good. Very good. Tinisadina.
A success.
Huh?
Success.
Success. Very good. Ajitanjala.
Kishla, there are too many.
Huh?
Too many.
You want too many.
Yeah, but I really want to see Tibet once in my life.
Okay. I want to see Tibet. Okay. Okay. So it seems like all the answers differ. My second question. Right? Okay, so what do you say? Wealth? Wealth and happiness. What do you want? Why do you want wealth? To fulfill my satisfaction, right? To fulfill my satisfaction, which means satisfaction, right? Okay. Pasala, what did you say?
My parents are,
That my parents should be happy. Why do you want that?
because they don't seem to be happy.
No. They're not happy. So if they are not happy, what's the problem?
There is a problem, and I know.
What's the problem? What's the problem? No, I'm not rejecting you. I'm saying, why do you want your parents to be happy? Because they're not happy at the moment. What's the problem if they're not happy?
It hurts.
It hurts you. So finally you don't want to hurt. You're getting it? Because when my parents are unhappy, I feel hurt. Right? When my neighbors are unhappy, I'm not that much hurt. But my parents are unhappy, I feel so hurt because I love them so much. You're getting it? Finally, when I see somebody who I love so much is not happy, then that makes me very unhappy. Finally, I should be happy. You're getting it? Oh, you good. So this is what you say? Well, that's spiritual satisfaction. Why do you want wealth?
Because in daily life, without wealth, we cannot live.
Yes, in the daily life, we without. So what's the problem if we cannot live? What's the problem? Yes, then I'll have dukh. I'll have suffering. I don't want suffering. Oh, good. Okay. So who said something different? Ajala says satisfaction. Good. Sandeep, what did you say?
I meant harmony and love, good feeling.
Okay. Why do you want harmony in the community?
Because I think people can see better.
Huh?
They can feel better when there's harmony.
So why do you want people to feel better?
So that everybody looks happy.
No, why do you want everybody looks happy?
So that also makes me happy.
Finally, I'll make me happy. You getting it? Oh, you good. This is what do you say? Huh? Satisfaction. Okay, Ajala, then two of you are same. Then Danger, what do you say? Want to see Tibet once. So what's say if you see Tibet once? Then I'll be happy. Right? Okay, good. Then Siddhana, what do you say? Success. What's the if you get success? And then again I'll be happy, I'll get satisfaction, very good. Namgela, good health. Why good health? Then I'll be happy. Good. Rimbila, what's if the big family is happy? Then the big family is harmonious, then I'll be happy. Look, although the answers seem to be very divergent, if you ask the second question, all answers will boil down to the same point, that I want happiness. You're getting it? So this is how we have to identify ourselves. What I'm seeking, we have to identify through these questions. We'll see that deep inside we're all same. Whatever religion that you're following Buddhism, Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, Judaism, Jainism, Sikhism, Zoroastrianism, Baha'i, whatever religion that you're following, even no religion you're following, right? We are all the same. We all want happiness. We all want to shun suffering. These are the two commonalities which everybody share. Now, working, a wise person will work to achieve that happiness that we are seeking. Wise person are the ones who will do things to get rid of your suffering. This is a wise person. So those things that you're doing to actually get rid of the suffering, to give you the maximum happiness, that is your spirituality. It's not about Buddhism. It's not about Hinduism. It's not about Islam. It's not about Judaism, Jainism, Christianity, or the Zoroastrianism or Baha'i. It's about a system that takes you closer towards your happiness. It takes you away from suffering. That is your spirituality. That is what you should be doing. Okay. For that matter, this stanza is said by the Buddha. Ye dharma hetu prabha. It's not about Buddhism. Ye dharma. Just see whether it's about Buddhism or it's about what's that about. Ye dharma. These phenomena. Ye dharma means these phenomena. Ye dharma. Hetu. Hetu is the cause. Prabhava. Arise. These phenomena, they arise from the causes. This phenomena meaning the phenomenon of happiness that you're seeking, the phenomenon of suffering that you're shunning, that you shun, both arise from their causes. So therefore, if you really want happiness, you have to embrace the causes of the happiness. If you really want to get rid of the suffering, get rid of the causes of the suffering. This is the wise person's approach. He dharma hetu prabhava. Hetum tesham tathagato hyavatat. Om sadhuda. Hetum tesham tathagato hyavatat. Hetum, plural form of cause. Plural form of cause. Tesham, these. Tathagato, the Buddha, enlightened one, Tathagato, the Buddha or the enlightened one. Hevatat. Hevatat means thought or said. Hetum tesham tathagato hevatat. What these causes are. What are the causes of suffering? What are the causes of suffering which you don't like? These causes are taught by the Tathagata, taught by the Buddha. Tesham chayo nirota. Tesham chayo is these. What these? These causes. These causes which the Buddha taught. Tesham chayo nirota. Nirota is a cessation. Cessation, bringing an end to these causes of suffering. Tesham chayo nirota. Evam. Evam is thus. Vadi is taught. Mahashramana, the great saint. How to bring an end to these causes is taught by the great sage. Great sage, the awakened one. Ye swaha. This is established. This is established. Okay. So the point is that if you don't want suffering, then get into the cause of suffering. If you want happiness, embrace the cause of the happiness. What are the causes of suffering to be abandoned? They are taught by the awakened one. They are taught by the enlightened one. From what we have learned thus far, the cause of the suffering is the ignorance. If you don't want if you don't want suffering, remove the cause of suffering, which is ignorance. Remove ignorance. If you want happiness, the cause of happiness is the wisdom. Cultivate the wisdom. So this is, if you know this basic principle well, then you have identified your path. What path you should be following. You've already identified your path, and you will get there. So the next, this stanza is what you find in English. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata meaning the awakened one or the Buddha. The cessation of the causes as well is taught by the great seer. Avalokiteshvara. It is like this. This dependent arising is the Dharmakaya of all the Buddhas. Dharmakaya meaning the true nature of all the Buddhas. This dependent arising. The cause of suffering, ignorance will give rise to suffering, wisdom will give rise to happiness. This reality is the Dharmakaya or the true nature of all the Buddhas. One who sees dependent arising sees the Tathagata. If you see this dependent arising well, then you will become Tathagata, you will become the Buddha. Avalokiteshvara, if a faithful son or a daughter of a noble family meaning somebody who aspires to become a Buddha, builds in a remote place, a now stupa, builds in a remote place, how there's usually in the stupas we have the relics and very precious items are put there in the stupas. So the Buddha is telling us how to build a stupa. The stupa, it does not require to be very expensive, very decoration, of course, expensive and with full decoration. The more you do that with respect, the more merit that you accumulate. But the Buddha teaches us how to, in a very simple way, you can make a stupa. Buddha says, built in a remote place, a stupa, the size of a gooseberry fruit, a very tiny fruit, for example, apricot, right? In the apricot, like the size of the fruit, and like a very small container. Let's say even this glass is, very big. So even a very small container, gooseberry fruit, with a central pillar the size of a needle, and then inside it you put it, say the needle. So needle is to hold the mantra. Hold the mantra. A needle and a parasol as a respect for this stupa, as a parasol, like the umbrella, parasol the size of a flower of the pagula tree, just a tiny flower like this, a tiny flower there, offered there, very tiny flower as like a parasol, the size of a flower of the pagula tree, and inserts this verse of dependent arising. Ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum desham tadagato hevata desham chayo nirodha evam vadi ma shramane swam. This mantra, if you then insert this into this tiny stupa, of dependent arising, which is the Dharma Dhatu. Dharma Dhatu means the ultimate reality. Dharma Dhatu, he or she will generate the merit of the Brahma. This is how we can accumulate enormous merit within a very short span of time with the least of the effort. Brahma. When such person pass on from here and die, they will be reborn in the world of Brahma. Meaning that it is not necessary that you have to be reborn, but you will accumulate so much of merit that you can easily take birth in the Brahma realm. When such person pass on from here and die, they will be reborn in the world of Brahma. When they pass on from there and die, they will be reborn with fortunes equaling those of the gods of the pure abodes. Those gods and goddesses, they have a tremendous fortune, tremendous wealth, tremendous the happiness. So you will get the same amount of fortune that equals the fortune of the gods and goddesses. After the Blessed One has spoken these words, the hearers, bodhisattvas, the whole assembly, and the universe of gods, human asuras, and the Gandharvas rejoice and praise his teachings. Okay, so the point here is that if you let's say that in the Tibetan tradition, when we have the Buddha, when we buy Buddha statue, and then we fill this up with the mantras, and there are so many versions of mantras. So the Buddha very clearly said it. If you put the Ye Dharma mantra, this is good enough, and then seal it properly. And the most important thing is, this is a physical gesture. Physical gesture. On top of that, if you know the meaning, then the benefit will be even multiplied much more. So with this in mind, we can be so kind. Say when you fly on aeroplane, from the aeroplane you look down, you see like huge, almost like whole of Delhi you can see underneath from the aeroplane down. Which means Delhi has how many people? What's the population? Like 22 million of people are there. So underneath your purview, there is 22 million people, and then along with this, insects, animals, the innumerable billions and billions, trillions are there. You say this mantra for them. Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava. See this, and then pray for them. May all of them read the benefit of this mantra. May all of them take this mantra with them. Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava. Hetum Desham Tadakato. Hevata Desham Jayu Niruddha Evam Vadimashramana Swam. Love. This is how you connect yourself with this 22 million human beings and the innumerable billions and billions and trillions of insects, animals, and so forth. This is how you connect them. And then if you do that, even just do that without thinking of them, you accumulate so much of merit. Then if you multiply this with these millions and trillions of beings, for them you are saying this, your benefit is going to be far more. Likewise, when you go by train, sometimes we reach places where otherwise no connection with the teaching of the Buddha. Say this, and in this area, human beings are there, animals, insects, so many tiny insects are there, trillions of beings are there. Just say this mantra for them, right? Okay, please take this teaching of the Buddha. All these phenomena arise from the causes. The causes are identified by the Buddha, the Tathagata, and the cessation of the cause as well is taught by the great seer. Right? Say the mantra and reflect on the meanings, and then imagine that you are giving this teaching to each and every single in the air. And when you go by, say by bus, car, tuk-tuk, or whatever, or even by metro, then from distance you can see the people there. Within the metro you can see people. Outside you will see these people. Just say this mantra for them. This will be so precious. And on a daily basis, if you can say this like 3 times a day, by different meanings, that will be incredibly wise. We will be so wise. Effortlessly we accumulate so much of merit within short span of time. And the Buddha very clearly indicated that Sonam Dembemi is Samadham Yatu. The ones who is meritorious, their aspirations will be accomplished fulfilled, very satisfaction. Aspirations will be satisfied, aspirations will be fulfilled spontaneously. This is the result of the merit accumulation. So therefore this would be very helpful if you can do that. Okay, stop here. Good. End dedication prayer. Tejala.
Please turn to page 278 for the additional dedication prayers. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All-powerful Chenrezi Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. Just as the brave Manjushri and Samantabhadra too realize things as they are, also I dedicate all these merits in the best way that I may follow their perfect example. I dedicate all these roots of virtue with the dedication praised as the best by the victorious ones thus gone of the 3 times, so that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva's deeds. May the supreme Bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish but increase forevermore. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all beings without exception into that enlightened state. I dedicate the merit thus gathered towards the realization of the deeds and the prayers of all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 3 times, and to the upholding of the dharma of teaching and realization. May I in all lives, through the force of this merit, never separate from the 4 wheels of the Mahayana vehicle, accomplish all the stages of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, perfect view, and the 2 stages. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. The path of the union of emptiness and compassion is lucidly explained by the protector of both the Dharma and the beings of the snowland. You are the lotus holder Tenzin Gyatso. We supplicate you that your wishes are fulfilled spontaneously. May the operations of evil thoughts and deeds, of the negative forces of humans and non-humans who harbor malice through perverted prayers against the teachings of the Buddhas, be totally vanquished through the power of the truth of the 3 jewels. In all my lives, never separated from the perfect Gurus, may I enjoy the magnificent Dharma. By completing the qualities of the stages and paths, may I quickly attain the state of Vajradhara. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by Arya Manjushri and be able to uphold the Dharma in general and the teachings on dependent origination in particular, even at the cost of my life.